is this? Alright, bit of an exodus. Whoa. Whoa, 4 more years. Whoa, look at this. Swen. Ooh, Floki. Okay. Huh. Interesting choice to not show him. Ooh. Kaizoku. Okay, so bit of a detour perhaps. I love how every time it starts off with the twins, he'll have something lined up, I'm sure. Ooh, big shot. Whoa. Okay, France? Look at this. That must be the commander. Those crossbows are damn good. Or effective. Oh, these backgrounds, man. Unreal. The boonies. Sasuga. Thorfinn, okay. Look at this. Right, there's been another few years of time skip, so. Okay. Of course, he'll be asking for a portion of the spoils. Hmm? Whoa, the new voice. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. No, that's not. Yeah. Whoa. Oh, okay, they already showed us the commander. He'll bring it. He'll bring it. But you know, it's been a long time. He's been here a long time. And they still haven't had any duels? I haven't watched Naruto, but I know that run. No, I think Ascalon does have some... I think he does care, a bit at least. Look at this dude. Okay, there's a translator. Normanni boy. Ah, north, okay. Clearly there's... Clearly they have a solution for that. Oh. You don't want that. This is certainly a choice here to make him look like this. Ah. Whoa, okay, they're carrying it. I've seen... Oh. I've seen that in the History Channel show of Vikings. A dragon. Oh, God. This toad-like appearance, man. Again, quite a choice. Yeah, I think you'll get to see it. You can't translate that. Okay. The one. There he is, yeah. He certainly stands out. Oh, look at this perspective. Oh my god, they're carrying the boats in. Oh, look at Askeladd up there. Look at this guy, is so out of place. Whoa, look at this. The showmanship is certainly on display, right? Oh my goodness. Whoa. I'm loving this angle. This perspective, sorry. Oh, whoa. Ichiban. Yeah. Feels larger than life. It is a saga after all. Oh. Oh. Zoro. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh. Look at this. There it is. Oh, he's gotta get that head. Yeah. That's right, boys. Normanni. This toad. Hold on, that sounds so familiar. Oh, that's Usopp. That's Usopp, isn't it? Yeah, that's Usopp. Tiny fellow. It's all. Ah. They're already in and out. Look at this. King Askeladd over here. Look at him all decked out. So it's time?
約束だ。嫌とは言わせねえ。アイスランドの戦士、トールスの子、トルフィン。我が父の剣にかけて、アシュラットに決闘を申し込む。貴君は我が父の仇であるがゆえに。おいおい、こんな時もだよ。よくやるね。
Now?
オラフの子、アシュラッド。我が祖アルトリウスの名にかけて、
Artorius.
トルフィンの挑戦を受けよう。が、後にして
Yeah.
くれ。
Not this instant.
こっから逃げるぜ。ぐずぐずしてるとか。
Okay, so it's there. It's set up now.
てめえ、ふざけんな。
Is it? Successful little detour. Oh, okay. Okay, folks, episode 7, there it is. This duel has been set up. Now, as I mentioned during the reaction, I'm a bit surprised that this is kind of being set up as perhaps the first time they've dueled since, Thorfinn tried that first time as a much younger individual, right? Unless, it's kind of like a off-screen type thing. Yeah, this has been going on for years because he has been part of that crew for years now, over a decade at this point, right? Yeah, certainly. Regardless of that, it's been set up for the next episode, and Askeladd mentioned let's go home, so I get to see home base again, right? Unless, the home base I saw once Floki showed up was just like a pit stop. That could be home base though. So yeah, they're heading back. So that should be interesting. Of course, the duel should be interesting. But, of course, at this point, I, firmly expect Askeladd to essentially embarrass him again, most likely, because it's just too early in the story, in the series. And I'm saying that even after seeing that Thorfinn has become almost OP at this moment in time. He is quite impressive. They showed signs of this in the last episode, that he is quite the natural on the battlefield, especially close quarters. He is pretty much untouchable close quarters, right? CQC, you're not touching Thorfinn out there, man. He's got brutal precision, right? He's short, he's agile. All of that plays into it. I mean, at some point, I mentioned, he feels like he's almost OP now. At some points it felt a bit over the top, of course. But, in that sense, this episode, like as a whole, kind of felt a bit over the top, didn't it? Certainly a different tone than what I'm used to. Usually it's a bit more grounded. I'm not saying it's, a terrible thing, but I am saying it was noticeable, the shift in tone for this one-off side mission episode. And I thought it was a solid episode, or a decent episode as a one-off. And I feel like this is the type of episode that allows for character development and progression, though there might not have been much of that in this episode. But as a whole, these are the types of episodes that allow for that, right? And it was allowed because, they set up that the king decided that, they're going to hold off till summer, right? I've seen that before in the History Channel Vikings show, right? Summer is the best time to go at it. And of course, he said himself, he'll enter the field, he'll lead his own crew as well. And I thought it was an interesting choice that they're not showing the king, kind of hidden in darkness or in the shadow as Floki is leaning in front of him. So yeah, this allows for a bit of a break from that larger conflict, and allows these kind of episodes, character-focused episodes. And to be honest, those are the types of episodes I really enjoy. The battle stuff, of course, it's fun, but it's not really the thing that gets me most excited about this. The characters that they've established over the past 7 episodes now, those are the things that really get me excited about this. And the progress of this story and their story. Now, circling back to the duel, yes, Thorfinn is most impressive out there, almost OP, as I mentioned, but I think he's still so far from Askeladd. And Askeladd, he kind of makes it look like he doesn't really care, right? But I do think he has some level of attachment, or he does care a bit about Thorfinn. And, he also makes it look like he doesn't care about his progression, right? His growth. But he does. I believe he does care about that. And he's got a watchful eye over Thorfinn. I see that he sends him into these situations that are quite tricky in nature. But I feel like he does it because he believes that Thorfinn is equipped to survive these situations. And, it's a learning experience for him. I feel like he's sending him out there to learn and, gain different experiences, different mentality perhaps, or get a different perspective on things. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he believes that, Thorfinn's not going to die out there unless part of him does hope, Thorfinn kind of perishes on these assignments, these missions he's sent on. Now I'll come back to Askeladd a bit. A lot of great Askeladd moments in this episode. He certainly is a fantastic character, isn't he? And, again, I brought this up in episode 5, maybe, the concept of having to follow this crew, this set of characters, knowing that they are Vikings. Of course, it's not the only thing they do, but, they do rape and pillage, right? They're not good men. They're not good people. Yet, there is a semblance or not a semblance, more than a semblance, there is a likability to a few of them, actually. You know, Bjorn's quite likable, quite level-headed when he's not a berserker, right? So I love that, contrast. Quite level-headed. He's a great, sidekick or right-hand man to Askeladd, right? But then, of course, they've shown us the flip side of that when he hulks out as a berserker. The complete opposite, right? Not in control, not calm. So yeah, Bjorn, he's certainly grown on me for sure. I certainly hope to see more of him. Askeladd, of course, at this point in time, I'd say he's the best character of the show, right? Or the most interesting prospect of the show so far. Not just prospect, yeah. Over the span of these 7 episodes, yeah, Askeladd has been established as a fantastic character. And then, of course, the twins. I noticed that every time they go to Askeladd's crew, they kind of kick off that segment, don't they? Now, even though essentially they are reprehensible, there is a likability to them. And, that's not an easy feat. I think there is a bit of a challenge to that. Because I mentioned a few episodes ago, because, if you're not on for the ride, if you can't really, you don't have to gel with the characters, you don't have to, agree with them. But if you're not on for the ride, and if you're not looking forward to their journey or their development or how things play out or how they impact Thorfinn's journey, then I feel like you might have a tough time following this story. Now, I'm not saying I have any sort of emotional connection to any of these characters, and I'm speaking of Askeladd and his crew, but there is something intriguing there. Now let's go back to the duel, right? This potential duel that's coming up. Now, like I said, I expect Askeladd to, handle him. Thorfinn might think he's ready for this, and he thinks he's accomplished quite a bit. And yeah, he spent over like a decade at it, and he thinks he's ready for this. But I don't think he's ready yet, and Askeladd knows this. I feel like Askeladd's gonna know for sure. Like, he's the type of person who understands. He'll know for sure once Thorfinn is truly ready. Now, speaking of the duel, how long can this go on for, right? Because like I mentioned, I do expect him to lose again. I do expect Askeladd to handle him again, and perhaps make another point, right? And I do think it might end up being another turning point, essentially. But how long can this go on for? How many times can he allow this in front of his men, right? How long is Thorfinn going to stay at it? Now, at some point, he is going to arrive at a crossroads. It's a bit too early for that at this moment, but, maybe down the line, he is going to arrive at a crossroads, and he has to really look at the situation. How does he justify killing so many people, taking so many lives just to avenge one, right? And that one life he's trying to avenge happens to be an important individual in his life who was completely against this, right? So how does he justify that, right? At some point, I think he is going to have to tackle that notion. But there's also another angle. How long before Askeladd decides that he wants to channel some of this rage and this, vengeance towards other channels, right? Or into other channels, into other areas. And how long before he mentions Floki, right? Because that's a game-changing moment, right? That's a turning point. If he mentions Floki to him, and that, Floki put a hit out on him, yes, that changes things a lot, right? So how long before Askeladd does that? Because I do feel like he is going to do that at some point, but not yet. He hasn't done it yet. He's holding that back, but I feel like at some point he is going to share that information. And of course, if it goes down that route, that's a whole different animal, because Floki is he's part of a different structure, right? He's got connections. He is army. So yeah, that takes a totally different type of turn once Thorfinn potentially finds out about Floki doing this, or putting a hit on his father. But yeah, that's probably down the line, him finding out about Floki, because that sets up a different storyline almost, right? But yeah, going back to the tone of the episode, the leader, the Frankish captain. It felt so out of place, right? It felt so out of place. It kind of felt like an anime character has been taken from a different anime and, plopped into this anime. Like, he was so out of place. I mean, they really leaned into him, being kind of like a frog, right? A bit of satire in the look of the character as well, who I also feel was the voice actor for Usopp. It became really clear at one point to me. So that's always nice to, recognize voice acting from One Piece. So the music continues to be just phenomenal, and it's so noticeable every single episode, isn't it? It's really top tier stuff. And of course, the backgrounds, stunning backgrounds. And I thought, some of the stylistic choices, even though it felt, in terms of the tone, it felt a bit different from some of the other grounded episodes. I still thought, there's a lot of great stylistic choices, the battle sequences, the POV perspective. The first time it was from under the long ship, and it was showing us a perspective of someone carrying it, right? Running along. And how about that moment? Imagine seeing that on the battlefield. These Vikings just running in the longships, right? So the running itself, maybe a bit exaggerated for anime, but, I thought the shot of him on top, Askeladd just standing on top as the ships are being ran in, I thought that was, a great moment. But I do believe carrying the ships is a thing, or was a thing, right? And, I saw a depiction of that in the History Channel show Vikings as well. So, I believe that was a thing. And, I love that one shot of the mast of the longship, and, the locals that are kind of marooned because their ship couldn't make it. They see it at night, the mast, the dragon mast rising, right? I thought it was a great moment. I thought it was a great depiction of, the terror people might have felt back then, seeing a Viking longship, right? So I thought the depiction of that as a dragon rising, or a dragon climbing the mountain, I thought that was great. One of my favorite moments, actually, of the episode. And of course, the longships themselves are quite iconic, right? Because of how effective they used to be, right? How devastatingly effective they used to be because of the shallow draft. And, it allowed them to move along swiftly, right? And penetrate, enemy territory, right? The river systems, and shallow ponds, as Askeladd mentioned in this episode as well, right? So yeah, they were devastatingly effective for Vikings, right? But yeah, going back to Askeladd, I loved his 50-50 speech. Man, such fantastic dialogue there. Such a fantastic character, right? And I loved how he saw the internal conflict and saw an opening, right? Saw an opportunity, and he took that opportunity, took advantage of it, full advantage of it. And yeah, they came out looking quite handsomely, right? Or they made out quite handsomely after that little detour they had. So, they look to be set for the next little bit. And then, another thing I wanted to... Thorfinn. You see that there's so much sadness in his eyes. You see that there's not much life left in there, right? The humanity's been stripped. And, it kind of reminded me of Eren from Season 4, Part 1, right? Okay, so I do think that's about it for this episode. It sets up nicely for the next one. Bit of a shift in tone for this episode, but a lot of great moments as well. So if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you're interested in early access or perhaps even full length to this episode, consider checking out patreon.com. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. And of course, there's also perks to many of the other series running on the channel at the moment. If you're into social media, Twitter specifically, I've got a link for that in the description and pinned comment. Consider checking that out. You can support the channel just by following the Twitter account. Right then, that's about it for this episode. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for your time. I hope to see you again soon. Take it easy.